Friends, welcome to my channel and thanks for watching this video. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss about the long-term chart of a crude WTI futures. Now, it has been one of the most talked about commodity and probably the only one, okay, I'm saying probably, but this is the only one which is not at all concerned about demand and supply, because this is you can literally call it as a politically motivated or country motivated commodity, and it has huge impact on the overall world economy. So let's now discuss about the long term chart of crude oil WTI futures, and let us see what lies as far as the trend is concerned. But before that, if you haven't yet subscribed my channel, just hit on the subscription button. Also hit on the notification bell along with the all button to get my updated video notification. Now as you can see, I'm using the candlestick chart where you can see this sharp drop to negative in 2020 before the big rise that we have seen. So if I use a line chart, it will give me a much clear picture, because all the additional things or additional volatility will be gone. So let me use both line and candlestick chart, and with the help of both we can draw a trend out of it. Now understand one thing, that even you know or you don't know, it does not matter, but it is when you're talking about crude or basically oil, which is which we are not using in our food. So there are huge number of, in the world economy, it's not about fueling your car or vehicle, okay, because it is one of the base commodity or the raw material for almost all the products in the globe. Either you are talking about shampoo, or you are talking about soap, you are talking about chemicals, you are talking about products, different products like wires, plastic, you can name everything, and almost 80% of them using some form or other in terms of oil. So that's why the impact is huge, and it has it has the capability to increase the inflation multifold. Now depending upon oil is one thing, but you cannot neglect oil at all for eternity, for the simple reason that you may use for giving energy to your vehicles, you may use some other source of energy, or you may use other source of energy for house purposes like cooking and all those things. But what about the products which has been highly dependent on oil? So you're talking about the future of oil. So oil is one of the necessity which is used in, or which is used as a raw material for lot many of things across the globe, with which goods has been created. Anyways, without further talking about all these things, let's now talk about the trend. Now first of all, meanwhile I have drawn all the lines. First of all, divide this chart into two part, okay. Understand this, then you will have a clear idea about the things that are going on. So divide the chart into two part. This is the first segment and this is the second segment, right? So what will happen, if you divide the chart into two part, you can clearly have an idea about the things which has happened as far as the price action is concerned. So it was a depressed commodity, I would say, from 1984 till 2004. Okay, so the price has been moving in between a range, as you can see here, $11, and you have a $10.2 on the downside, and as far as the upside is concerned, you have 38 and 41 and one more, Here we are, 32. So this was your previous range from 1980s till 2004, and then the global expansion happened. So does the price of the oil, so there's the price of WTI crude future. Okay, and the trajectory has shifted from 10 to $40, and now the trajectory has shifted towards $40 to 140, and it went up to 148 or 150. Okay, $150. So this is what we have here, or the regime changed. Meanwhile, as you can see, this transition from the lows of 1998 to the highs of 2008, where the oil itself moved by 1300%. So it is not at all a joke when a commodity moved by 1300%, and that's where you can see the rise of goods across the globe, because the base commodity has risen a lot, and then it has completed a correction as well. So if you simply try to understand this move, what is actually happening is something like this, and a very sharp, the downside happened, but it happened very sharply. As you can see, now we are now moving up, and we are moving up very sharply. So what has actually happened is this cycle, okay, the cycle in between which the crude has been moving has turned very fast. I mean, it has taken from 1986 to 2008, and then from 2008 to 2020. So as you can see, I mean, what has happened in probably 20 years, it has now happened in 10 years. So the cycle has reduced substantially, and you can see a huge volatility, and probably this will be the nature of any financial instrument going forward as well, where the cycle has reduced now, and we can see move faster than expected. Now the trajectory which we are using right now is this one, right, where we have already tested 118, and it surpasses 118, went up to 129, 130, and then started falling, and you have your next support at 79, and I think one more level is also there in between. Let me use that as well. So here we are. So you have 63. Now what do we have here to understand as far as the level is concerned, and focus on this highlighted section. Whatever is happening in between this particular range, okay, in between this particular section where you have $32, 38.75 and 41.17, and these are your three important levels on the downside. And as far as the upside is concerned, you have 63, 79, 118, 141 and 150. Okay, so these are your upper end of the range. Now what we have seen here is the WTI futures went up to 113, but it has corrected a bit and currently trading below 118, which means it is facing resistance in or at $118. So the current range that we are using, or that we will use right now, is going to be 79 on the downside and 118 on the upside. And if only it again moves above 118 or 119, then we will talk about 140 and 150. Now there is one more analysis I would rather say 2 points that I want to tell you. Now previously we have seen from 1986 and then 2004, okay, a global expansion has happened. Right now that scenario is not there, but what is there is a bad policy, because of which we have huge supply constraint. There is slowness is in demand, that's fine, but the supply constraint is much more bigger than the demand slowdown. which means we have a shortage. So if this thing persists or continues for a longer period of time, which means if this supply issue continues and if global leaders don't want to resolve this thing, or they don't get a solution out of it, you will again see a transition like this, okay, where the trend has shifted. So we hope that this transition may not happen, because if it does, then you better ready for the next big move as far as the oil or WTI crude futures is concerned. And that is not driven by growth, because last time happened it was driven by growth. But if this time it is not driven by growth but only by making things worse, then it will not be good for any other financial asset. Last time everything was rising, but not this time. So right now what we are looking at is $32 and $41 on the upside, and 118, 140, 150 on the upside, a bigger pardon, on the downside 32 and 41. And if it again moves above 118, 119, then we will talk about 140 and 150. So this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching.